Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Vape Live. It's day 2 of our 3-day Vape Fest here. My name is Patrick Griffin. I am the editor of Vapouround magazine, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Jonathan Ng, the global head of external affairs for RELX International. Jonathan, welcome. I think you may be muted. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hear you at all? Maybe your volume.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Excellent. So welcome to Vape Live.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. We're always keen to talk to key players in the industry, whether it's from sort of manufacturing, from advocates, or anyone who just wants to speak about vaping and is knowledgeable about what's going on, and basically sort of cares to get this the message across that this is a really good way for smokers to do something that for a lot of them want to do for years, and that's sort of quit smoking and get nicotine in a less harmful way. The reason that I've invited you here today is that very recently you, or RELX International, launched an initiative called the RELX Pledge. which I think is a three-pronged program to basically make the industry better, if you like, on a number of levels. Can you just give me a quick overview of what the RELX pledge is and what you hope to achieve?
Certainly. And we, like you said, we certainly hope to be able to improve and upgrade the industry, as you mentioned. Look, as a company, I think we identified that there are three sort of commitments based on key challenges that the industry is facing, right? The first is about committing to protecting youth, or more importantly, more broadly, ensuring that our products are not made available to unintended audiences or don't attract unintended audiences. And that includes the youth, right? But also includes non-smokers and non-vapers, right? The second one is on the quality and reliability of our products. Yeah, we identified that as a key challenge with the growth of a lot of illicit products. That includes both counterfeit and contraband products, right? And the third, I think the vaping industry has developed to a certain level of maturity, where we now have the ability to give back to local communities or communities where we operate, right? And with all of that in mind, that was the basis for the development of the RELX pledge. As the name might suggest, the pledge is our pledge to operate responsibly. It's our commitment to corporate accountability. And that accountability comes in the form of protecting and supporting the communities where we operate, okay? By protecting, as I mentioned, unintended audiences like the youth from exposure to such products, protecting our consumers, and protecting economic livelihoods. So there are really three key pillars to this. And if you'll indulge me, I'll speak a little bit about each of these pillars in turn, if that's okay.
Absolutely, yes.
So the first one, which is protecting unintended audiences, that really comes down to the very DNA of our company. Since our inception a few years ago, we've always held prevention of access of our products to youth very dearly. Okay, it's one of the key tenets of our fundamental principles. And we developed what we call the Guardian program, right? Which is a really an end-to-end kind of program, okay, or initiative that stretches from product development all the way to sales, to include marketing and our supply chain, to discourage the use of vape products by minors through concerted efforts with retailers to step up on-site identification, right? We ensure that our products are not designed, marketed, or sold to underage users, right? Through a series of proactive education and training of retailers, and ensuring strict compliance throughout the entire value chain of our products. On the marketing side of things, we've developed a very long and detailed list of marketing guidelines. And if I may just share a few of the key highlights of those guidelines. One of these is to ensure that we never use cartoons or youth-oriented celebrities or any models under the age of 25 in all of our marketing communications. Obviously, in most markets, the legal age for vaping and smoking is 18, or in the countries like Philippines, 21. But we try to set a higher bar for ourselves, right? So we set it at 25. We also do not feature any lifestyle imagery or language that might appeal to the youth demographic. And we never make any health claims or suggest our products enhance any attributes or characteristics or provide any physiological benefits to our users, right? And as you might know, in the laws of many countries, there are certain requirements for packaging, right? But even in markets where there aren't such laws, where there aren't such requirements, we mandate three key elements in all of our marketing communications. First, that the health warning be printed, even voluntarily, on all of our packaging, all right, as well as our marketing. The second, that our Guardian program logo, which demonstrates our commitment, be very clearly printed on all of our material. And the third is a disclaimer line indicating that our products are only for existing adult smokers and vapers, right? Another way where we try to go beyond what the law requires of us is in our flavor naming. I think you'll notice in RELX products that we use very subtle neutral names, right? And that's because we've noticed that there has been a lot of suggestions among retailers and the media that flavors, and in particular flavor names, serve to attract the youth, are very attractive to the youth through very exciting names. Even names like watermelon or cherry could serve a purpose of attracting children or attracting the youth. And that's something we didn't want to do. So we said, okay, we'll remove one layer of attraction to the youth so that they can't see the name and get attracted to the product, right? And so we use very neutral names like fresh red or dark sparkle, yeah, or tangy purple. It's a play on colors for the most part, but we find that this is quite a neutral naming system or nomenclature for our products. Okay, I understand, Patrick, that you're based in the UK, and I think a large part of your audience is UK based as well. So I'll speak a little bit, if I may, about what we're doing in the UK on the Guardian program, right? We are an active member of the UK Vaping Industry Association. We serve on various UK VIA subcommittees, including the Youth Prevention Access Committee, where we've been actively contributing to the development of a preventing underage sales guide. We're on the Policy and Regulatory Committee, and where we've collectively developed the manufacturers' guidelines for packaging, labeling, and flavor names. And the third is a marketing committee, where we share our best practices in terms of responsible marketing and communication. We also obviously engage with retail partners and key accounts to educate them about our pioneering youth prevention initiatives. And now this is something we do not only in the UK, but everywhere else around the world as well, where we've printed brochures that outline the best practices of how to tackle underage sales, along with trade materials such as wobblers, posters, stickers, featuring a no sales to underage, to under 18 sign. And also how to successfully carry out age verification. Obviously, online sales is another channel for us, and so we've partnered with a leading age verification platform called Verify My Age, right, to ensure that only adult consumers manage to purchase our products at RELX's official e-commerce platform. The service is quite a seamless verification process in which there's no disruption to the user's shopping experience. And so we like it very much. So that's all under the Guardian program, which is the first pillar, right, to protect the youth. The second is about protecting our consumers. I think there are products out there that are not manufactured to a very high standard, if I may be very honest, right? Sometimes there are liquids in pods that, I mean, you don't know what goes into some of these products. They might not be manufactured to a certain standard. And so we're doing our best to try to combat illicit products in the form of counterfeit and contraband products, meaning tax unpaid products. Okay, we have an authentication mechanism on our product and packaging, where you basically just scratch off. There's a sort of scratching. You can scratch something off on the packaging, which reveals a code, right? So you scan a QR code, and there's a unique 14-digit alphanumeric code, right? So scanning the QR code brings you to an authentication website. You key in the 14-digit code, and the website automatically tells you whether it's a genuine product or not. Okay, we actively engage with customs officials and are members of anti-illicit trade organizations around the world.
I think you've had
yes.
I think you've had some recent successes in liaising with sort of customs.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you, Patrick.
Sorry. I believe you've had some recent successes in helping finding counterfeit products and getting them off the market. So
we have had quite a lot of success. in aiding local authorities in some countries in successful cases of raids against some of these poorly manufactured products, right? So we've raided factories manufacturing counterfeit, and in fact, since January of 2020, we've managed to partner these authorities in shutting down more than 77,000 websites, right, and removed over 550,000 fake products from the market. So I think we're quite pleased with the successes so far, but we're obviously not going to rest on our laurels, and we'll continue to engage customs officials on such activities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's very important. On that one, is that something are other companies sort of doing the same things, or do you think the industry is at a point where we're doing enough now to come across as mature and responsible, or is there more that needs to be done?
It's difficult for me to speak on behalf of my esteemed counterparts or in other companies. I do think that the industry is making a very concerted effort. Yeah, and you often see what many other companies have invested, the kind of resourcing that they've invested in combating illicit trade, right? Having said that, though, I do think that there's something to be said about some companies operating in a more responsible manner. And I'll give you an example, right? There are these compatible products. So I know of certain manufacturers, right, smaller manufacturers in general, who produce pods that are compatible with RELX's devices. Yeah, and then they go out there and they market these pods as being compatible with our devices. Honestly, it's a bit flattering because it suggests that they think our devices are manufactured to a very good level of quality, and so they want to ride on that success. But the danger there is that people might be misled into thinking that these products are RELX products, right? Yes. And the truth is, many of them, I mean, you don't know what kind of ingredients quality goes into them. You don't know what kind of product standards they meet, or whether they don't meet any product standards at all, right? So we are trying to combat these compatibles, which try to ride on our name. So like I said, we do call on players in the industry to operate in a more responsible manner in that regard.
And I think a lot of companies will maybe do some or most of the elements that you've set out in the pledge anyway. But I think what you guys have done, which is really good, is that you've basically sort of published the pledge and all of the things that you're doing. So that could actually act as a template for other companies to say, we can do all of these things as well. And I'm sure that you wouldn't object if other people sort of copied your template, basically, I guess.
Very kind, Patrick. We do hope that other companies might take some reference or draw some inspiration from what you said as a template. I acknowledge again that there's more for us to do, right? We're obviously always trying to improve what we're doing, work more closely with government regulators around the world. Obviously, we're also trying to learn from what other companies are doing. We're obviously not perfect ourselves. But yes, I mean, if there are other companies who draw reference or inspiration from what we're doing, we're more than happy for them to follow suit, especially because it you know, as a whole, it really helps to raise the standards for the whole industry, right? And we think that's good for everyone.
And I think it's very important at this time too, because you'll no doubt be aware that around the world with certain regulators or policymakers, vaping seems to be an enemy or something that you should attack. And you're quite right that if the industry does not appear to be like sort of grown up and responsible, then that gives the detractors more ammunition to say, this is a bad industry. But if we're coming up with really high quality standards and offering a viable alternative to smoking, then it's going to make people who don't like the industry or want to regulate against the industry, it's going to take a lot of that ammunition away. And then they might realize that it's actually a lot of good is being done. So I definitely...
Yeah. You're absolutely right. The industry has suffered a reputation problem for quite a while, right? I think a lot of this is due in part to some of the more irresponsible behavior of certain players, right? The truth is that there are many of us who are simply trying to provide cigarette smokers with a better alternative, right? We're not trying to attract youth. We're not trying to attract any non-smokers or vapors. We just want to give adult smokers a better alternative. And hopefully, if the entire industry operates in a more concertedly responsible manner, right? Regulators and the media will see what we're trying to do and give us the opportunity to achieve that objective.
Yeah, that's very important. On the whole flavor thing, and again, I'm totally supportive of doing everything that we can do to make flavors not appealing to children. But would you accept that flavors are absolutely vital for adult smokers to switch and to stay off cigarettes?
Absolutely, 100%. So look, we like you said, we have to do everything that we can to provide adult smokers this option to transition away from cigarette smoking, combustible cigarette smoking, right? And the truth is that there has been studies, there has been scientific research that has shown that many adult smokers switch to vaping because they've been able to find flavors that they like, that they find palatable, right? The ritual, the sensation is very different from smoking. I mean, you've been smoking for about 30 years, you know. It's not a habit that's easy to kick. It's not a habit that's easy to switch away from. So providing these flavors that are appealing to adult smokers, I think that's something that's incredibly vital for them.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is. And that goes to, I was thinking when you were explaining about the flavors, it doesn't really matter what you call them. If people who are using your products know that, oh, the one that's marketed as red something, that's the strawberry one that I like. You don't ever have to use the word strawberry, and that's not going to detract from people buying that product, going into the store and, yeah, 2 of those, please. I love that flavor. I think that's worthwhile. We've had a question about the about your pledge, which has saying what is the feedback that you've had so far? I know it's only a relatively recent development, but what feedback are you getting, and are you having other people in the industry saying this is a good idea, we're going to follow it, or what's the feedback so far?
I've been very encouraged by the feedback we've got so far, right? I think the pledge has gained quite a bit of traction in many countries across the different continents and regions. Even commercially, we have certain key accounts who've come to our distributors saying, look, I think that, I mean, I'm encouraged by what RELX is trying to do. Yeah, through the pledge, we can see that the company is genuinely committed to trying to do the right thing. You know, that's just one example of that. Now, another example of how I've been quite encouraged by the response to this is in the third pillar, which if you'll bear with me, I haven't had a chance to speak about yet. So I've mentioned the Guardian program about protecting the youth, the Golden Shield, which is about protecting consumers from illicit products, and the third is what we call green shoots, which is protecting economic livelihoods. And I raised this because I have heard very positive feedback on this one in particular, right? So I mean, look, we're in the middle of a pandemic, yeah, and as a result, there's been widespread economic disruption and dislocation, and a lot of people have lost their livelihoods. This has had a disproportionate impact on small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as entrepreneurs, right? As you might imagine. And so, as a sort of a young startup ourselves, we understand the challenges that many of them are facing, right? And so we are committed to helping share our learnings. We've made some missteps, you know, we've made some mistakes, but we've also done quite a few good things that have been helpful in helping us to grow quite quickly, right? So we want to share our experiences with these SMEs, with these entrepreneurs, okay? And the way we are doing it this year, the first initiative under the Green Shoots program is what we call the RELX Academy, right? So we are partnering with a world-renowned online learning platform, edX, right? Which was set up by Harvard and MIT, and it hosts courses, online courses that are curated by some of the top universities around the world, right? And what we're doing is we're sponsoring these courses for budding entrepreneurs. Okay, anyone who wishes to learn about the basics or the fundamentals of starting and growing a business can sign up for the RELX Academy, right? We are currently piloting this in the Philippines, trying to see what we can learn from there, and then we plan to develop this and expand it around the world. And I've been, as I mentioned, I've been very encouraged because the feedback, the response to that, even in the 1.5 months since we launched it, has been very, very positive. In fact, we're partnering with a social enterprise in the Philippines to bring this to a wider audience over there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds really good. And how many? Do you have any sort of numbers for people that you're helping in the Philippines at the minute, or is it a small pilot study to see how it goes?
So we've started. We would like for as many people to benefit from this as possible. We are piloting it now, like I said, but nonetheless, we're happy to take as many people who might be interested in it as possible, right? We have not done as much advertising of this program yet, but we are planning to ramp up our advertising. At the moment, we have over 50 applicants for the program in the first month, which is quite encouraging, to be honest, despite the fact that we haven't done that much advertising for it. But we call on anyone in the Philippines who is interested in this, please come sign up. If I may, Patrick, one point that is important for me to note is that the RELX Academy is not about vaping at all. So it's really about the fundamentals of business, setting up a business and growing a sustainable business. It's not about vaping at all. Okay. Nonetheless, for Academy graduates who might be keen to start their own business, we want to try and support them in realizing that dream as well. So we work with these interested graduates to set up RELX stores in the Philippines so that they can be business owners of their own, and that comes with very attractive financial incentives, if I may say so myself.
Okay, no, that's good. I think because this is an industry which grew up so rapidly, and a lot of big companies now, they basically started off by 1 or 2 people just making e-liquids in their own homes, giving them to friends and colleagues, and the response was, you must do this, and they just started. And a lot of people started without any prior business knowledge, and just kind of felt their own way along. So I think to be able to give entrepreneurs a solid grounding in business, whether they go into a career in the vape industry or anything else, is very laudable, and that's a nice thing to see that happening. So that's really good. Just as you were talking, we actually had a question, which was, can you speak more about the potential success of the RELX Academy? And we've just done that, so you preempted that one anyway. So that's good. And I think it's
like I said. So sorry, we've just started in the Philippines. It's still a very new initiative for us, right? But I certainly hope to be able to develop this and expand our reach across the world, and hopefully bring it to the UK where you're based as well, as soon as we can.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. That would be a great thing, and we'd cover that and watch what's happening there with interest. What else are we having here? Someone's asking, is the Green Shoots program going to make its way over to the USA at any time?
So, as you know, we always obey and respect all laws and regulations, right, where we operate. In the US, we obviously have no business operations at all. You may read that we are planning to make a PMTA, file a PMTA application, right? I think we are taking, admittedly, a much more conservative approach to any kind of interaction or business nexus in the US. Yeah, and for that reason, I think the expansion of the pledge into the US would probably come in tandem with our PMTA application. I think that's probably the right thing to do at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, getting into the US, there's a lot of hurdles that people must overcome. So that's that's totally understandable.
Well,
Yeah, you got to keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. As far as Relax International is concerned now, and the way your company's going, how do you see the role that you play in the vaping industry in the marketplace? Obviously, you want to do more than just sell products. Obviously, every company wants to sell products, but you mentioned that you're teaming up with organizations like the UK VIA. And just a plug for the next segment, in half an hour's time, I will be speaking to John Dunn, who is the Director General of the UK VIA. So if you're listening to this, stick around and hear my interview with John as well. I've got to get a plug in for myself as well. But yeah, I mean, you obviously, as a company, are very committed to putting the very highest standards out there and the very highest quality products. And I think that's important, not only because it's the right thing to do, but again, when you have so many people trying to find holes in the vaping model and say why it's bad, if as an industry we can have products where you know they're tested, you know they're authentic, you know that the ingredients are sort of the best quality you can possibly have, that's got to be helpful for everybody.
Certainly. Look, you're right. You mentioned earlier that the whole vaping industry, when it first started, it was a few people who were experimenting with the e-liquids, and then it grew from there. And I think what we've tried to do, and we obviously aren't by no means the first to do it, but we've certainly tried to professionalize the industry, right? With significant resources in the R&D, in the manufacturing, yeah, to make sure that everything is done to a certain standard that we hold ourselves to, right? Well, the plug for the academy is that we're hoping to professionalize entrepreneurs who want to set up their own businesses as well. But part of this professionalization of the industry is beyond just the technical side, right? So like you said, everyone wants to sell products. We need to ensure that our products have the best safety and reliability standards. That's why we've invested so much in the R&D, the science, and the technical manufacturing of it. But beyond that, also is another reason why we're investing in the RELX pledge. Yeah, obviously this comes with a certain level of resource requirements, right? But that's something that we think is the right thing to do, and something that is worth investing in.
Yeah.
Also enhance the overall reputation of the industry, like you said, so that well, in our case, it's because it's something that we truly believe in. But as a sort of positive side effect of that is about enhancing the reputation of the industry, so that we are given the bandwidth to be able to, as I said, provide adult smokers with product that can help them to switch.
Yeah, that's very good. I'm getting quite a few questions coming in on a very sort of similar theme. How can I get involved in a Relax franchise? How can we find out more about the Relax Academy, those sort of things? Is there a resource, a website that people could be directed to where they can read more and find out more about what we're talking about here today?
Are we talking about the Relax Academy or the pledge as a whole, or?
There was a question about the Relax Academy, but possibly people, I don't know whether that's got a separate thing or whether you could just direct people to the pledge as a whole and they can take it from there.
So our website, which is www.relaxnow.com, RELXNOW.com, has quite a bit of information about the Relax pledge. All right. As I mentioned, unfortunately, the academy is currently only being piloted in the Philippines. The fact that people are asking about it on this conference is very encouraging for me, and thank you everyone for your interest and your support. I would encourage everyone who's interested to perhaps find out a little bit more about the pledge on the Relax Now website, again RELXNOW.com, which talks about the pledge and gives a bit more information about how different members of the industry, can participate in the pledge. And if you have any further questions or queries, please feel free to reach out to us. There should be a contact us or contact details for Relax on our website. If not, I'm happy to provide my email address as well. Please feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, and I know from previous talks that I've heard you do, you're one of the most open people, and you will talk to anyone and help anyone that really wants your guidance or expertise, even though you're an incredibly busy man. So that's really nice to see.
However little guidance and however little expertise I can provide, I'm always happy to.
Yes, no, that's absolutely brilliant. Let's see what else there is. We've got a little bit of time left. Well, people are really wanting to find out. People are asking about your curriculum. This is really touching, getting people excited here. Oh, this is a really unfair question. You might not want to answer this one. Someone's saying, what's Jonathan's favorite RELX product?
That's actually a very good question. And so actually prior to working at RELX, I worked in a tobacco company, right? And prior to that, I worked in the Singapore government.
Okay.
Now, so to switch from a public servant to the tobacco industry, which obviously is not always well liked, and then the vaping industry, it's a bit of a weird career choice. And I'm sorry to be burdening everyone with my personal life story here, but I joined the tobacco industry and subsequently the vaping industry with a very clear mission, which is to help adult smokers switch. And I've always been clear that our products are not for non-smokers and non-vapers, right? I have seen a lot of my friends who have started smoking or started vaping, and I've always, to be honest, discouraged the people who are not smokers from doing so. That's a very long-winded way of explaining that I've never smoked or vaped myself. Again, I believe in this principle that products are only for adult smokers and vapers.
That is, that's perfect. I share that with you as well. So while we're opening up about ourselves, I can tell you a very sort of similar story. I agree with you 100%. I'm in a very fortunate position that I've never smoked. So I work, my job is in the vape industry, so I don't vape either, because I think it's really important. If we're going to get a message across, we have to live by that message ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we are an industry that is appealing to adult smokers. If you're not an adult smoker, then the industry, the devices, everything is not for you. You can recommend it to your friends that are smokers. I'd recommend that you do that. But we're not trying to get anyone who's not already smoking using the products that we have. And I think it's that's something that might surprise a lot of people, but that's how we are, and I think that's the really responsible way to act in this industry. Sometimes people say, but you have to vape if you work for a vaping magazine. And it's like, no, I don't. When we need to do things about sort of the technical issues of vaping, then we have experts that we can turn to write about those things. But when it comes to the overall principles and what we're trying to achieve, then I can talk about that, and you can absolutely talk about that. And together as an industry, if we can get the message across about why we're here, then we're going to win hearts and minds over one at a time, basically. And if we can do that, then I'm happy.
I'm utterly delighted to have found a kindred soul in you.
Absolutely. Jonathan, we are out of time. Do you have any final point that you want to make?
I do not, other than saying first, thank you very much for having me again, Patrick. I've really enjoyed this session. It's been a real pleasure. The second is thank you everyone else who is listening, and thank you for your time. I know I've been rambling on a little bit. Please forgive me for that. But I truly have been very encouraged by the enthusiasm and support for the RELX Pledge. Again, I call on everyone who is interested to find out more at relxnow.com. That's RELXNOW.com. And feel free to contact the company and even myself if you'd like to find out more.
That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sure we'll be able to invite you back again sometime if you have time, so we can catch up on the latest developments. But for now, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Cheers.